Fictional friends, and welcome to another episode of Fully Booked. I'm Megan.
And I'm Shirin.
And it's the last week of June. But not really.
But not really?
Because we're pre-recording. We're pre-recording.
They don't need to know that.
I know, but we do that. So we're finishing up our coverage of banned books for the month of June. And we were taking a look. So I was taking a look through different lists of banned books from, various countries around the world. And, oh God, I can't even remember where this happened. Wait.
I just want to say, while you're looking for that, I don't know if you've noticed our trend of consistently picking the worst movies of every adaptation we can possibly pick. Every month.
I don't think it's necessarily everywhere. Okay, so this week, to finish things off, I was taking a look through lists of banned books in different countries, sort of internationally, and I came across the fact that apparently the Da Vinci Code has been banned in multiple countries around the world, including Lebanon, India, Pakistan, Egypt, and Jordan in the Philippines.
Why?
Because of the perceived anti-Christian themes throughout the course of the novel, Shirin.
I didn't realize Lebanon was very Christian.
Banned in 2004 by security authorities after Catholic leaders expressed concerns about its perceived offensiveness of Christianity.
That is my ignorance. I apologize to the people of Lebanon.
That's fine. We don't know. You're not Lebanese.
No, I'm not. Contrary to popular belief.
You're not. Yeah.
What was I going to say? It's gone. It was a good point. Okay. What I will say is that this movie, while we're ragging on it now, and you and I had a time getting through this movie.
We did.
In 2006, I thought this movie was the shit.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I was like, ooh, twisty.
Yeah.
And ooh, conspiracy.
Conspiracies. Oh, twists and turns.
And ooh, it kind of reminds me of National Treasure, which is kind of my favorite movie.
I don't think we've ever talked about this on the podcast. Shirin loves National Treasure. You love this movie.
I really do.
Yeah.
I think Nicolas Cage does a great job in this movie. And Mr. Cage, if you would like to reach out so we can discuss
that would be so fun.
National Treasure. I have a t-shirt for National Treasure.
You do?
Yeah, Dan bought it for me.
Oh, stop.
It's got a picture of Nicolas Cage on it, and it says, I'm going to steal the Declaration of
Independence. Oh my God, that's incredible.
So good. I love this movie. I make my husband watch it at least once a year.
Yep.
And when I know that we're getting close to the 1 year mark.
We have to get, we're going to have to do a watch through with baby at some point.
Yes, it's such a good movie.
We'll have to watch.
It's not. It's so terrible.
It's terrible.
It's just fun.
It's terrible, but it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I spent multiple years still before I moved, into my own place and things like that. I spent multiple years with my mom would regularly have it on TV because it was just an easy film to watch, isn't it?
Exactly.
Correct.
And it's also quite informative historically. And it tells you the history of the United States in a very quirky and interesting manner. So I really don't see what there's not to like. I wish that there were more movies like National Treasure.
It's just a fun adventure movie that talks about American history, and it's got Nicolas Cage in it. What's not to like?
Exactly.
I can 100% say that now because people are obsessed with Nicolas Cage now.
He's great.
There was that National Treasure was maybe in that period of time where people forgot about that, how much they love him a little bit. But believe me, it's come back in full force.
You know what I love about Nicolas Cage is that he's an actor who he's not overly snobby about any movie that he's in.
No,
and
not
he
really
commits to the part.
Oh boy.
And you're just he looks like he's having a good time.
Yep. No matter what kind of character he's playing, including when he plays himself.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
In Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which is the first time, for me, because I didn't watch Narcos, it was the first time that I ever really saw Pedro Pascal.
Oh, really?
Other than Game of Thrones in anything, and he steals the show in that film.
Because you didn't watch The Mandalorian,
No,
did you?
not well. I watched the first season. It was fine. He doesn't take his mask off, so you don't really see who it is.
Fair enough.
And I had watched Game of Thrones, obviously, so I'd seen him as Oberyn. But he didn't have a huge part, to be fair, before he got his eyes plucked out.
Ooh, yeah, that was rough.
Oh, that death was terrible.
I can never rewatch that show.
No, me neither.
It's too much.
It's so much. It's so terrible. And then you get to the last couple of seasons and you're like, oof, geez, okay.
Well, it was so good. It was an epic.
Yeah.
And then I mean, you know what? The ending was the ending. Like, I'm not mad about it or anything.
I mean, no.
I just feel like I can't rewatch that show.
It's just sort of, it would be tiring to do so.
Oh, very much.
Yeah, so it wouldn't really be worth it.
We are digressing so hard.
We don't really, because we don't want to talk about this movie. Okay, so...
Anyway, I thought this movie was the shit in 2006.
I don't think I did. But I'm also a couple years older than you, so maybe I understood it a little bit better and I thought it was boring. Anyway, okay, so for the uninformed who haven't bothered looking into this at all, so this is a 2006 adaptation of the 2003 novel of the same name by Dan Brown, of the Robert Langdon series, which is absolutely massive. Particularly the Da Vinci Code, but even the entire series itself, they are bestsellers. I don't think that I can maybe overstate how big in the literary world this series, particularly Da Vinci Code, but at least a few of the novels in the series are, you know what I mean? Like these are huge.
Well, yeah, but even when this was being released, it was massive.
It was. It was only 3 years after the novel was released.
Well,
so.
That's what I'm saying. Like the novel was huge.
Yep.
It was everywhere. And then like a few years later, they released the movie. And I was making this comment at the time when we put this on that back in 2006 with, you know, a book to movie adaptation like this, they would only do the adaptations of like some of the biggest titles.
True.
And then they would get like a serious cast going for these movies. So like the anticipation and the hype around them and the marketing was crazy compared to what we see now because we have so many adaptations now.
True. Yeah, it's true. Okay, wow, God, I'm just like reading additional things about this at the same time. So essentially, I don't even know how to describe this. So the Robert Langdon series as a whole is sort of like an action thriller series to a degree so it's kind of Indiana Jones, so it leans more into the scholarly aspect of things.
Less into the whip.
Yeah, that's it. Less into the, like, you know, adventure-y kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Is that in there? 100%. But, you know, it's very heavily led by conspiracy theories throughout the course of the different stories that take place, and it follows a character by the name of Robert Langdon, who is a professor of symbology at Harvard University in Massachusetts. He's apparently, like, I guess quite renowned. You'd have to be a Harvard professor, wouldn't you?
Oh, totes. I can't even imagine how many publications you'd need annually.
Yeah. Think about the volume. You're like, ooh. Anyway, so he's a Harvard professor who regularly throughout the course of, again, multiple novels in the series. I forget exactly how many there are. The Robert Langdon novels. There are currently 6 books in the series.
6?
So actually, I should specify the 6th book in the series, The Secret of Secrets, is expected to be published in September of 2025, so this year.
Wow, and he's still writing.
Yep. Actually,
how many were made into movies? Just 2 or
no, 3.
Which was the third one?
Inferno.
Oh yes.
Have you watched Inferno?
No.
Me neither.
Was Tom Hanks in it? No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
What?
Apparently. See, we're like, what?
I'm Googling that.
Yeah, so the Da Vinci Code was the first novel adapted into film, but not the first book in the series. Angels and Demons is the first book in the series, which was the second novel adapted to film, followed by Inferno, which is the 4th novel in the series, which was adapted in 2016, apparently, into a film.
All Ron Howard.
It's all Ron Howard and all Tom Hanks.
It is important to see the Da Vinci Code before watching Angels and Demons. No.
Which doesn't make sense.
No, it's not. Sorry.
No.
Which, other than 2 passing references, which are very mild and infrequent, all I remember about Angels and Demons is that thingy was in it.
Wow.
You know who I'm talking about.
You say that like
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
What? He
guys,
was?
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor.
It's not gonna be. Yes, him. Big fish.
Big Fish and so many other things.
Yeah, and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Sure, Shirin, sure. Yeah, so anyway, okay, wow, I'm just blowing my own mind tonight looking at this, that Inferno is a movie that happened that my brain wiped out of existence. I haven't seen it. I've not read the book either.
I had no idea.
And to be fair, the Robert Langdon series was actually in the last couple of years adapted into a TV series, which only lasted for a season. It was called The Lost Symbol. And it was like one particular season that followed Robert Langdon's character.
This is crazy. Was Tom Hanks in that
No,
too?
he wasn't.
Okay,
No, it was a different actor.
I'm picturing that with a more of like a Young and the Restless vibe. I don't know why.
Okay, weird. That's not. I did watch it. That's not quite what it was like. It was fine.
They really need to make. Okay, I'm just talking shit now. All right, let's move on.
Okay, so, I don't know how to set the stage for people other than to indicate that this, as I said, this novel was published in March of 2003, and at the time that it was published, it blew up. I cannot describe the popularity of this book.
If you think of the Da Vinci Code,
yes,
I don't know about you, but I think of the book cover before I think of like a movie poster.
Yeah, I get you.
And I think it's because they even had the book cover on the movie poster.
I think so.
And you'd walk into a bookstore and it was everywhere.
Yes, yeah.
Everywhere.
Absolutely.
And it was a huge book, too.
Oh my god, I can't even describe the level of hype that this novel...
No, I meant like thickness-wise.
Oh, no, I think it was quite... I don't remember how big it is, but oh god. Just this entire... I mean, yes, to a degree, like the... Overall, the Robert Langdon books are fairly popular, to be fair. But,
yeah, but this was the...
But this one was the one that blew up on shelves, and it's because of many of the themes to do with Christianity and questioning the contents of the Bible. That's what I think really made it like salacious to a degree.
Yeah. And
made it like, one of those like, oh my goodness, look at this book. It was, sort of covering the types of topics and positing theories that we've, I guess, decided never to really look at before.
Well, I mean, I remember at the time watching this movie, and I said this to you when it was released in theaters on the Friday. I was on a school trip, and we went to Boston. And so we were driving into Boston on the bus, and I looked out the window, and we were going past a movie theater.
Yeah.
And there were actual protests outside the movie theater.
I wonder if
about the religion.
I wonder if to a degree there was partially like hype in an area like Boston because Robert Langdon's character teaches at Harvard as well.
That's right. Yeah, there's that too. Like,
he's a professor at Harvard, so and it's right there.
I mean, I knew nothing about it at the time.
At the time, yeah.
Like when it was really I was 14, maybe.
Sure.
Something like that. Almost 15?
I don't know.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. I didn't know anything about the movie.
It was 2006, so technically you would have been about 14 or 15.
Yeah. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The point is, I had no idea about anything to do with the book and the movie, but I remember seeing these protests and being shocked that there was this much of uproar about a movie being made. Because I'd never seen it before in Canada. And then when I watched it, I was like, oh, there is a lot about religion in here, And it's funny that you say the perception was that it questioned Christianity and whatnot. It was almost like a different interpretation of the...
It was just a different interpretation of the Bible, essentially, and the writings within the Bible, but,
But it was really poorly received.
That can ruffle a lot all
And I can imagine it still would now, which is why it's still on the banned book list in all these countries.
Different countries, that's true. Also, by the way, so just side note for what you were mentioning, it's 480 pages, so it's not nothing.
It's not nothing, but I remember it being like a large book too.
Yeah, well, because everybody had that hardcover copy of it, specifically with that red cover with the gold writing on it and the little sort of Mona Lisa on it. Exactly. That was what you had. That was what the cover was when it was released, and I remember it was a huge deal. I think I actually picked up you know what? Again, this was one of the few times I think in my life where this was a book that was read as a family. So, like, my
really?
parents both read it, and I read it.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, I think we picked up our copy. It was like we were on, like, a vacation in Maine or something. Oh, yeah. And we just happened to go into a bookstore while we were there, and it was such a huge deal that we were like, all right, let's buy a copy of it. And everyone, all three of us wound up reading it. So
that's so fun.
Yeah.
I wish I had that kind of experience. I think that's why I force all of you to read books with me now.
Maybe.
Because I'm like, this was really good. Now you must read it.
You read it. No one else ever reads it. So anyway, whatever. It's so incredibly well known. It would be really easy for you to look it up. But essentially, the idea of the overarching, I should say, idea of the novel follows Robert Langdon as he's looking to, first of all, solve a murder that takes place in the Louvre in Paris, and while doing so uncovers essentially a mystery and sort of like an ancient mystery to do with the
Holy Grail.
With the Holy Grail, that's it, like, you know, sort of the true existence of the Holy Grail, and the questioning
what
of
that actually was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the questioning of religious texts, and essentially the theory that is posited is that Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene were either married or had a relationship and produced a child from that relationship, and therefore Jesus Christ has descendants up until modern day, essentially. Like, that's the crux kind of what they cover.
Yeah.
Yes, there are, like, multiple other entities and things like that. Opus Dei, the Priory of Sion, and all that stuff that sort of...
Yeah, they really came down hard on, like, some specific factions or branches of Christianity, should I say. And I think I would be fairly certain that this is where a lot of the uproar came from as well. Yeah, especially Opus Dei, I would assume, you know?
I'm assuming, that people were not too happy to have that explored.
Yeah, I mean, you know, any movie or movie, show, book that portrays a religion in an inaccurate or extreme fashion will always be received poorly.
Exactly.
Which also makes sense,
you know, and as it's so funny because this was, as we said, a completely massive bestseller. So the novel was a bestseller worldwide. Yeah. It sold as of 2009, so I can only imagine now what that looks like. 80 million copies worldwide.
That's crazy.
It's been translated into 44 different languages. You know, like, there have been so many different things that have happened with this, and then that's it. Exactly in 2006, we got this adaptation of the text, which again was a massive Hollywood production. Was directed by Ron Howard, starred Tom Hanks, Alfred Molina, Ian McKellen.
Oh yeah, and these guys,
Paul Bettany.
These guys were all at, like, you know, Alfred Molina was playing Doc Ock.
Yes.
Ian McKellen was playing Magneto,
and Gandalf.
Yeah. You know, so these guys were playing, like, big roles.
And Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks. He was playing
Tom Hanks is
whoever. Everyone already knew who he was.
Right. And so like, that's why, you know, when we were watching this, I was like, man, like, you know, back then, 20 years ago, we were really, like, you know, looking for big actors and putting a lot of production value into these adaptations.
We definitely were.
And, like, now they seem to be getting picked up by Netflix and, like, Amazon a lot more.
Yeah.
The streaming services that, while they do make some excellent shows and movies and whatnot, they do tend to kind of bring stuff out more frequently.
Yeah, I mean, I think also it's because it does give, to be fair, it does give the opportunity for filmmakers and writers and things like that, in a lot of cases, to expand on a particular story, especially from, you know, the perspective of a novel. They're able to expand on, you know, the world or whatever exists within the story of this novel, which probably helps them. So turning it into a series as opposed to a film has a tendency to help them along. That way, you know, they develop more, which I do understand. Yeah. I feel like even with this, it probably would have been better to maybe have, like, a mini series or something, you know, something that allowed you to delve further into certain aspects of it.
We weren't really doing that at the time,
no,
were we?
No.
Like Harry Potter is a perfect example of a movie that really required to be, like, a mini series with multiple seasons.
Yeah.
Like, not even a mini series, like a full-on series, which they are doing now. Side note.
Yeah. That's it. We're seeing that all over the place now. They're casting, so.
Yeah. Side note, we do not condone what J.K. Rowling's doing.
No.
With her time.
Well, we've talked about this before, but yeah.
Really upsetting. Anyway.
We were not watching it, by the way. So.
No.
No support for that.
No.
Anyway. But that's it. So all of that said, all of this, hype, build up, information, all of this stuff to do with this like massive bestseller. Holy crap, this movie is boring.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's too bad because, I really, when we were watching it, I'm like, oh man, I want to be excited about like the twist, quote unquote, or like the explanation at the end. But I'm like, oh, I just am not,
No, I don't.
It just doesn't feel as interesting anymore as it did.
And again, I'm trying to think back about the time of release.
Like when you read
when I read it, I remember finding it was really fun and interesting and things like that, in terms of the novel itself. And I probably read it in like 2004. So I do remember very much enjoying it when I read it, which is also why I read the first novel in the series, Angels and Demons, as well, because I really enjoyed the Vinci Code. But I don't I'm trying to remember my reaction to the film when I watched it, and I don't think I had a great reaction. I'm trying to think back to actually remember, like, how did I feel about this? And looking back, I think I did find it boring at that time as well. I don't think that was something that was simply relegated to having rewatched it now. I think I didn't enjoy it.
It could be though because you read the book first.
Yeah, probably.
And you knew where this was going, and you had a specific idea in your mind.
I did. Yeah, no, I had a particular idea about the story, about the characters and things like that. And I did find that, maybe it's also because even at the time, and I will say on rewatch as well, I find the characters in this film are underwritten. Yeah. There's not much to them. Yeah. They're very surface level, whereas I found that the book, and I understand why it would give you, a novel obviously is going to give you the opportunity to expand on certain things a little bit. However, I do find that in this particular case, the book is so much better because there is more depth to basically every single character that's introduced and their role in the story.
Yeah, I kept making that comment that, like, what's her name?
Sophie Neveu, yeah.
She's, like, supposed to be this amazing code breaker.
She's a cryptographer.
And she can't seem to, help much with any of the historical information. Like, she does here and there, but like, nowhere to the extent of what the main character, Robert Langdon, is. Yeah. And, like, I'm just kind of like, I didn't love that.
Me neither, and I didn't like that. And I guarantee that she was, like, directed in this way, or because of the writing / directing, this is what wound up happening. She played the character very, like, doe-eyed, very, like, I don't know what's going on at any time. Oh my goodness. How do we fix this? And you're kind of like, this is stupid. This person who's this intelligent and this aware and this good at solving puzzles would not be like this.
Yeah, like, she works with, like, doesn't she work with the French FBI?
Something like that.
Like, she would have to be excellent at what she does.
Yeah, she's like, literally a police cryptographer.
Well, that's it. Like, and what's his face? The detective guy.
Detective Fash.
Yeah, he said that they were the equivalent of the FBI in France.
Oh, right, yeah.
So, she works for them, and yet, in the presence of Robert Langdon, she cannot possibly come to any conclusion.
Which, yes, okay, I understand that he's, like, devoted his life to studying things like this, and of course he would have a wealth of knowledge. He's not trained in law enforcement. Like, he wouldn't study or look at things through the same lens.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Like, he looks at it from the lens of research. Of a
scholar.
But then again, I guess that would allow him to make a lot of associations with other historical information or, like, research that he's done, which could ultimately be helpful with
No, it
something
definitely
like
is.
this.
But I just feel as though, like, when I don't know, I just feel as though when I read it in the book, maybe because the narration gives me that, where, you know, he's not saying I'm better than the police are, he's just, like, putting pieces of a puzzle together and spouting information based on that. I believe it a lot more than with no narration, watching a film and watching Tom Hanks magically be the only person who can solve a particular equation or put together something from looking at a dead body on a floor, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Oh, God. Anyway, it was...
That's actually very true.
Yeah.
This would not be his typical research.
Correct. I don't think so, anyway.
How would you... And, like, we were almost yelling at the TV.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the explanation is that this man was shot in the stomach, and then he proceeded to limp all around the Louvre, which is massive, by the way. And, like, leave, like, drips of blood. And like,
write in his own blood.
Yeah, but secret code. No, he writes in his own blood.
Yeah.
Or something.
You know, it's
and then
blood.
He wipes it away.
Yeah, like, what?
So, like, they have to use their little black
their
lights
little
to
UV
use
fucking lights on it.
Like,
yeah.
Explain this to me.
Oh, it does not make sense.
You know? Anyway.
No, I agree with you. It doesn't make sense.
You know, we were watching this. My husband was like, yeah, like, it takes hours to bleed out of your stomach. I'm like, yeah, fair enough.
Sure, but how would you have your faculties about you?
Are you really going to be dragging yourself around with your guts hanging out?
How would you have your faculties enough, like, about you enough to come up with
like
a decoding puzzle for someone to solve? That's crazy.
It's impressive. I don't know.
It just wouldn't happen, and it does not make sense. Mm-hmm. So I was just, yeah, it immediately throws you off, and I think that on rewatch it's even worse because you're like, oh my god, this is ridiculous.
And to be fair, we do kind of play off each other here, and we are scrutinizing it to the nth degree. Sure. So, you know, this poor movie, any movie adaptation doesn't really stand a chance against.
No, not really. It's kind of terrible. Anyway, I will say, I think the cast was trying with what they were given, but I believe that this is probably a script that started off quite a bit more detailed and then was cut down by the studio. I truly believe that there was more to it in a first draft than what wound up being filmed.
Like, I think it wasn't long after this that they started doing the multi-part movies.
Kind of. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
we must have been heading towards, like, Deathly Hallows and Twilight, Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2, Hunger Games. Yeah.
And also, didn't they try and do it with Divergent, but they never made the second
half?
Oh,
they made 2 or 3 of them, and then they didn't continue it.
I know, it's, like, such a disappointment to me to this day.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to watch the last one.
I think people have said that. They're like, oh, that's so unfortunate, because I would have liked to have seen the entire series.
I really got into them.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, it's just us.
You have so much editing to do in this episode.
Oh, it's crazy. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We've gone off on some tangents. Anyway, we have just, like, a lot of ranting to do about this because, as I said, it's so well known that there's not much point to an extent in getting into, like, the entire plot of the film.
Also, it's such a long movie.
God, oh my god, it was almost 3
sittings.
It was almost 3 hours long. Yeah. It was too long.
It took us forever to watch the damn thing. We don't have this kind of time. There's a baby in the mix now.
Also, just, it's not well made, so you're not interested enough to continue watching it if you don't have to, you know?
I was really rooting for it, though.
Yeah, you wanted it to pick up and get better.
Did.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to, like, you know, the feeling that I get when I watch National.
You're just going back to it now. Oh,
and we're back.
And this entire podcast episode has just been an ad for National Treasure. Please watch National Treasure. It's a fun film.
It has a better rating on Rotten Tomatoes than the Da Vinci
Code does. Oh my god, I didn't give ratings at the beginning. I'm so sorry. Wait. Okay, so at the time of recording, the Da Vinci Code has a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb and 25% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is the critic score. Audience score is 57%.
And as of recording, National Treasure currently has a 46% on Rotten Tomatoes and 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb.
Higher on both.
And in the reviews 100% loved the casting.
Yay.
So, there you go.
Well, you know what? It's Nicolas Cage, Diane Kruger, John Voight. Like, it's a fun cast.
Sean Bean.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Christopher Plummer.
Christopher Plummer's in
Yeah,
this
he plays
one.
John Adams.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a National Treasure 3 coming out.
Stop it. I know they've been talking about it for ages, but I didn't know if it was actually happening.
No, it's because they made a show and they canceled it.
They canceled the movie because of that?
Yeah. No, there wasn't, Okay. Apparently somebody got really angry about it. Well, Nick Cage got mad in March of 2024. No, there is no National Treasure 3. If you want to find treasure, don't look at Disney, okay? It's not there.
Oh my god. I mean, to be fair, that show was terrible.
Yeah, I tried watching it.
I
really gave it the old try. I really wanted to enjoy it.
I didn't finish it.
No, neither did I.
No.
I love National Treasure.
You love National Treasure. It's really bad. And I say that, and I love Catherine Zeta-Jones, she's in the show, but it was really bad.
I really wanted to like it.
Nope. Could not make it happen. So, anyway, all of this for no reason to say watch National Treasure, don't watch the Da Vinci Code. Apparently, it's better.
Oh, but there is a fun little scene where they need to borrow a man's cell phone on the bus because not everybody has internet nor a cell phone at this point.
Oh my gosh. And
it's such a time capsule.
It's got a very old, clicky phone, like a Nokia style phone where you had to go and log on to the internet. Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah. And again, they had to borrow someone's internet.
Yes.
Not everybody had data.
No, and he had to explain to them how to search for the right thing.
Yeah, how to Google something. This is a Harvard professor of symbology or something.
They don't teach you this at Harvard in 2003, I guess. I don't know. Anyway,
2006, Megan.
Yeah, but the book came out in 2003. That's what I'm saying. Oh. Anyway, you know what? If you happen to if we've shit all over your favorite movie, I apologize.
And we're really sorry, Tom Hanks.
I'm sorry. I love you, Tom Hanks. You're like America's dad.
He really is.
But you are not well suited to this character, and I don't care what anyone says.
Wow.
No, it was bad. Anyway, if you happen to love this movie, you know what? That's cool. No problem. Shirin loves National Treasure. I'm sure a lot of people hate that fucking movie.
I'm surprised my husband hasn't left me over this yet. He loves movies.
He likes terrible stuff, to be fair.
Yeah, but I really love National
No, but you love National Treasure, but he's also somebody who watches Velocipaster with a serious face and enjoys it, and Lamageddon.
Oh,
yes,
right. That was the most recent one.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what? I don't think he has much room to complain.
No.
Anyway. Oh gosh. We're done with banned books month.
Oh, okay.
We finished everything on a really weird note.
I'm picking the adaptations next month.
We picked it together. You agreed to this.
I was like, do we have to do this? And you're like, yes,
no,
it'll be funny.
You only said that after we watched a half hour of the movie, and you were like, oh. Do we have to do
I almost tapped out.
Yeah, she was like, do we have to do this? I was like, we are doing it.
Megan made us commit. She doubled down.
I did. So that's why we did this. Anyway, so we're closing out Banned Books Month. I think we've had some interesting conversations at any rate anyway. And just, we finished things off on a silly, goofy version of things, yes. I think. So that's fine. Anyway, as usual, obviously, feel free to check out everything that's going on over on the website at fullybooked.ca. Follow us on all of our social media, so Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky. Just search for Fully Booked CA and you'll find us on there. But until next week, guys, and a whole new month of episodes, keep on reading. Thanks, everyone.